Okay, well, thank you very much. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Once again, nandito po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today, it's Saturday. It's already April 12 na po. Kahapon ang month anniversary of Tatay Digong po dyan sa ICC or International Criminal Court dyan po sa Netherlands. 1 month na po since he was handover from Philippines. Ang Philippine government handed over sa kanya dyan po sa Netherlands o dyan sa International Criminal Court dahil po sa warrant of arrest. Arrest warrant po issued by ICC. And one month na po siya. And I will be giving you some of the, sabihin natin, footages regarding itong, sabihin natin, updates regarding ang sitwasyon ni Tatay Digong. Medyo maingay na. Quiet, I'm in program. May programa tayo. Ito talaga si T-Rex, quiet. Kim, quiet. Alright. So, may konting disturbo tayo dito sa, sa programa natin dahil sa, natin, ang aso natin dito po, si T-Rex. Si T-Rex po. So, sige, let's continue. And the first thing that I want to share with you, itong news article, ano ba talaga? May impact ba yun na March 11 na arrest of Tatay Digong? May impact ba yun sa mga kandidato sa May 12 midterm election o wala? Ano ba yun? Na may na-violate ba ang rights ni Tatay Digong? And dahil yun po, mga question po, tungkol sa legality of the serving of the arrest warrant of Tatay Digong, na it resulted to the sabihin natin hearing ng Committee on Foreign Affairs, which is spearheaded by no less than Senator Amy Marcos, ang elder sister ni President Bongbong Marcos. Now, the committee wants to know whether sino talaga nakutos dyan order to hand over si Tatay Digong dyan sa kustodiya ng International Criminal Court or ICC. Sino talaga? Ang latest hearing, which was conducted the other day, lumalabas po na the one who's in charge, overall in charge operation in assisting the serving of the warrant of arrest of Tatay Digong, si CIDG chief, si General Nicolas Torre III. Siya din po, sabi niya, I got the order from my big boss na po sa PNP, ang PNP chief, si Marbil. And si Marbil din denied that statement of, sabihin natin, Torre, and at the same time pinpointed to another government official, and that another government official also said he has no authority to issue such order. And that's where si DOJ Secretary, si Secretary Crispin Remulla admitted that he was the one who gave the clearance po. But clearance lang niya po. Kaya nga sabi ni Senator Bato de la Rosa during the hearing, sabi niya clearance and order are two different things. Yan po. So yan po, mga question. But anyway, it is obvious, nakita na natin po. It is obvious, not only me, but even ang ordinary people, they say that it is also, they agree that it is already obvious that the order came from somebody up there. And that is, and that somebody is, sino pa po, kung hindi ang presidente natin. Kaya sabi ni, when he was questioned, si former Senate Speaker, Drilon, during an interview, was it yesterday or this morning, sabi niya, obvious na po, na hindi magalaw mga tao po sa baba kung walang knowledge or walang green light coming from the President himself. So, sabi niya is already given fact po, no? So, ganun na po. But anyway, it did not come out from the mouth of Marvil, neither kay General Nicolas Torre, that the order came from President Bongbong Marcos. But as what I said, and what they said, it is really obvious na it came from the President. Bakit they don't want to say or confirm that it came from the President? Because if that thing will happen, so it will be a very hot issue again. Ganon na lang ba ang Presidente can order something? Even ang kapwang Pilipino niya po, who has done a lot of things for the country, no? Can easily hand over to a foreign court. Ganon na lang ba po? So, maybe they're trying to avoid this thing. This, again, hot issue or controversial issue po. That is the reason why nobody wants to confirm or tell saan galing ang order. And anyway, as what I said, may impact ba yun ang arrest ni Tatay Digong sa forthcoming, scheduled on May 12 po ang midterm election. At saka, ang presidential election, should there be any, sa 2028. Sa 2028. Nandito po, I will read to you an article published by Inquirer. Inquirer newspaper dyan sa Manila. And this is their headline today. So, let me share this news to you. There have been some significant movements in Pulse Asia latest pre-election survey with only a month to go before the May 12 polls. The Ulat ng Bayan pre-election survey was conducted from March 23 to March 29 with the result released on Friday. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa is one of the biggest gainers, climbing to the second to third place with a voter preferences rating of 48.87%. He moved up from the 7th to 14th place where he landed in the previous Pulse Asia conducted in January. De La Rosa's ally, re-electionist Senator Christopher Bongo, leads the so-called Magic 12 first place with 61.9%. Go switch places with EC or ACT or EC-CIS representative Erwin Tulfo, who held the top spot on the January survey with 51.1%. Tulfo is now tied with De La Rosa. At the fourth place is former Senate President Vicente Tito Soto, the third, with 44.2%, followed by Senator Pia Cayetano at the 5th to 10th place with 37.5%. Sharing the 5th to 11th places are Senator Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. with 36.9% and former Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson with 36% voter preference. Television personalities Willie Revillame and Ben Tulfo and Makati Mayor Emby Binay shared the 5th to 12th ranks with 35.7%, 35.4%, and 35.3% of potential voters respectively. Senator Lito Lapid ranked 6th to the 13th with 33.3%, 33.3% of potential votes, followed by former Senator Manny Pacquiao, who was at the 8th to 16th rank with 32%. Hector Philip Salvador also saw his chances improving, moving up to the 11th to 17th place with 30.9%. He was in the 19th and the 21st place with 18.4% in the previous survey. I'm sorry. Completing the March or Magic 12 and sharing the 12 to 18 na place are Las Piñas representative Camille Villar with 29%, former Senator Ben or Bam Aquino with 28.6%, and Sagip Representative Rodante Marcoleta with 28.3%. So this is the first time that we see ang survey na Marcoleta is now in sa Magic 12 po. Will he manage to maintain or level up ang placing niya po sa Magic 12 hanggang sa midterm election na schedule on May 12? Tingnan natin po. But the way things are moving, parang nakikita natin po ang arrest ni Tatay Digong last March 11 po is one of the factors why karamihan ng mga administration candidates na decline ang rating nila po sa survey, sa survey. Diyan po sa Pulse Asia po. Aquino and Marcoleta climb in the ranking from the 15 to 18 places and 22nd and 24 places respectively in the previous survey. Senator Amy Marcos dropped to the 13 to 18 place with 27.6%. She was in the 4th to the 12th place with 43.3% in the previous survey. Alright? With only a month before the elections, only 38% of registered voters were able to pick a full slate of 12 preferred senatorial candidates. The poll also showed that virtually all Filipinos, 99%, reported an awareness of the party list system. Out of the 155 party list groups running for the House seats, 45 would secure at least one seat if the election were during the survey period. 5 party list groups would win the maximum number of seats. Igog with a preference of 6.11%, CIS with 5.57%, Duterte Youth with 4.774%, Pwersa ng Pilipinas sa Pandagat 4.64%, and pagdibayin at palaguin ang pagkabuhayang Pilipino or 4-piece with 40 or 4.59%. Yan po ang latest updates natin po tungkol sa survey. But anyway, I will give you itong report po, no? When we talk about the survey, I'm going to, kasi dalawa survey lumabas just recently po, ang Pulse Asia at saka Okta. Pulse Asia po is a non-commissioned poll survey. Ibig sabihin, walang pera-pera dyan. Ang Okta is a commission survey po, no? So, when we talk about credibility, mas mataas pa ang credibility ng Pulse Asia kaysa sa Okta. That's how the Filipinos look at the situation. At the situation. But anyway, survey lang ito. And bahala na yun sa mga kandidato. Bahala na yun sa kandidato whether they believe itong survey or they don't believe. Bahala na po sa mga voters. Bahala na sa atin po, mga Filipinos po. No? But there is only one thing sure, I know, that this survey will serve either as a guide in the event that the rating is not moving up. And it will also a reminder for candidates na kung ang results, ang rating nila po is declining. It means they have to do something po. 1 month na lang, no? Malapit na. 1 month na lang po. And then the election ng May 12. Now is already April 12. So, ibig sabihin, mayroon na lang tayo 1 month or less than, slightly less than 1 month po. Because campaign period will end on, I think, May 10 yun po, no? May 10, tapos na yun, ang campaign period. Anyway, sige lang. I will share with you some footages, sa mga footages po tungkol sa survey. But before sharing with you itong mga footages po, I just want to remind again sa mga followers natin po dito sa Nick Talk, Daily Talk with Nico, na I will give you once again the names of the people dyan po from napasok sa Magic 12, and ang ano nila po is 1 to 16. 1 to 16 o 1 to 18 yata yun po, no? Nandito po, I will read again ang result. Now, this survey, Pulse Asia survey, was conducted after Tatay Digong was arrested last March 11. At ang tanong dyan, when that happened, ang arrest ni Tatay Digong, marami was saying, let's see ang next survey, Pulse survey. Now, this is conducted or carried March 23 to 29 with 200 respondents. And there are a total of 64 candidates for senatorial, and 12 will be chosen. 12 will be chosen. Alright, nandito po ang result once again. Listen carefully. Sa mga Duterte sa camp, siguro good news ito. Sa mga admin camp, medyo they have to think and do something po, no? Okay. Number 1, si Bongo. Bongo with 61.9%. Number 1 yan po. Followed by Erwin Tulfo with 51%. He is between 1 and third placing. Then followed by Bato de la Rosa with 48.7% between 2 to 3 placing. Then sunod dyan po si Tito Soto, Vicente Soto po. He will manage to get 44.2%, and he is number 4. Followed by Pia Cayetano, re-electionist ito po, with 37.5%. She is between 5 to 10 placing. And then si Bong Revilla garnered a total of 36.9% between 5 to 11 placing. After Bong Revilla, pasok ang si Ping Lacson, who wants to return back to the Senate with 36% between 5 and 11 placing. After Ping Lacson, nandito na naman po, very popular neophyte, si Willie Villame with 35.7% between 5 to 12 placing. After Willie Villame, nandyan ang kapatid ni Erwin Tulfo, and that is Ben Tulfo, who garnered a total of 35.4% between 5 to 12 placing. And then, Abby Binay, the leader dyan po sa Makati, no? Mayor, she managed to garner something like 35.3%, and placing-wise, she is between 5 to 12 placing. Followed by Alito Lapid, aktor ito po, with 33%, 33.3%, between 6 to 13 placing. And of course, behind him was or is Manny Pacquiao, wants to return back to the Senate, who managed to get 32%, and he is now between 8 to 16 placing. After Manny Pacquiao, mayroon tayo si another actor po, si Philip Salvador, who managed to get 30.9%, and he's now between 11 to 12 placing. And then, mayroon tayo si Camila Villar, managed to get 29%, and she is now 12 to 18 placing. And of course, next to Camille Villar, meron tayo si Bam Aquino, who managed to get 28.6%, and he is now between the 12th and 18th placing. And the last, but not the least, we have Rodante Marcoleta with 28.3%, and he is between 12th and 18th placing. Nagulat ang mga tao po, no? Dandahan si Marcoleta managed to go inside the Magic 12, no? Magic 12 po, para sa Senado ito, no? Ito po ang resulta ng Pulse Asia survey po, carried out between from 23 to 29 of March, and a total of 200 respondents. And later on, I will share you some video clips, ang statement ng Pulse Asia President si Ronald Holmes, where he mentioned or said something about ang result ng Pulse Asia po. And mayroon din tayo dito a video clip wherein kasi lumabas din ang Okta result. Hindi naman na masyadong diferente ang result, almost the same. But mayroon din tayo clippings coming from ito si from Okta, si Mr. Rajit Rai. Rib ba yun? Rai. Alright? And since mayroon tayong dalawa Pulse survey, ang Pulse Asia and Okta, na I also have a clippings dito po, ang reaction, ang observation ng isang professor dyan sa Pilipinas, political science professor dyan sa UST po. He commented, reacted on the to a survey, and I'm referring to no other than Professor Dennis Coronation, no? So I will be sharing you with this, sabihin natin, itong mga clippings as we move on. Ito po si Nico Fabian, once again, inviting ang mga tao, mga Filipino, kababayan ko po dito sa Malaysia. Presently, nandito pa ako sa Kuala Lumpur. And mga Filipinos, mga kababayan ko dito sa Malaysia, sa Kuala Lumpur, West Malaysia. And of course, I would like to also, again, greet to my kababayan friends, na Malaysian Samahans, mga Filipinos po dyan sa Malaysia, is part of Malaysia. Dalawa tayong states dito po sa east of Malaysia, and that is Sabah and Sarawak. And everybody knows a lot of Filipinos nasa Sabah and Sarawak po, no? Especially originating from Mindanao. Alright? So, let's move on. And later on, I'll also be touching on mga latest developments ni Tatay Digong. Since yesterday, 1 month na si Tatay Digong. But, mauna muna tayo si Tatay Digong because siguro marami talaga tao, they want to know anong latest updates ni Tatay Digong. Alright? Okay, let me share with you itong footage about Tatay Digong. Ang report po galing sa Manila ito, no? And reported dyan po sa Netherlands, dyan po sa ICC, sa ICC. Nandito po. Let's listen to this. You all done, ha? Let's listen to this. Ito po ang latest updates tungkol sa issue ni Tatay Digong po. Hold on, ha? Okay. Tatay Digong. Saan yan ang Tatay Digong? Tatay Digong is 414. Okay, let's listen to this. Sandali, if I can make it full screen ba or paano ba ito? Pwede ba tayo mag full screen? Siguro mamaya pwede tayo mag full screen. Alright, let me show you ito. Sandali po, ha? Okay, I hope I can make it full screen.
At the moment for the family of former President Rodrigo Duterte and former BR daughter Kitty just celebrated her birthday here in The Hague, wherein almost everyday supporters are gathering exactly a month since Duterte's arrest. Supporters joined Hanilet Avancenia in celebrating her daughter Kitty Duterte's birthday yesterday, right in front of the ICC Detention Center here in the Netherlands. They prepared and brought food just for the occasion. They say it's the least they can do for Kitty. And Kitty is relishing every moment she can have with her father, including a dance with Digong when she visited him inside cell.
I asked him if he was okay, if he's okay. Then he said, no guts, no glory. So, we're looking forward to come home to explain to the Filipino people what has happened.
Lord, thank you for the lives of everyone here. Thank you, Lord, for the time that you give us, for being here with us. We do not know them.
Hanilet became emotional as she led a prayer for Kitty, Digong, and their supporters. The former president's common law wife admitted he threw some worrisome questions after he got detained in The Hague.
Napapatanong kasi siya, bakit kung sino pa daw yung may matinong ginawa para sa bayan, yun daw yung nandun sa loob. Sabi ko, pareho tayo ng tanong. Actually, tinatanong ko ang Panginoon. Pero ano yan, alam mo, marami namang natatalo ang mas kadiliman sa kabutihan ulit.
At this point, Hanilet said she no longer believes anything will come out of the investigation by the Committee of Senator Amy Marcos on the legality of Duterte's arrest.
Ano na lang yun? Paek-ek na lang yun. Huwag na lang kayo maniwala ni Amy Marcos, ma'am. Hindi ako maniwala sa kanya. Tanong siya na ano ba talaga nangyari? Hindi, ma'am. Hindi ba siya nakita ano nangyari?
For his part, Attorney Martin Delgra is questioning the difference between the case of former President Duterte and those overseas Filipinos who get repatriated without legal liabilities.
Pinabandera nila yung tulong na ginawa nila patungkol dun sa 3 Pilipino sa China who were detained. And then about a few days thereafter, 15 Filipinos whose cases were dismissed in Qatar because the government have extended the necessary assistance to the Filipinos, including an offer for repatriation. It's a complete opposite here. An elderly 80-year-old Filipino citizen who was already in the country was forcibly brought out of the country to face trial in a foreign court.
Exactly a month after former President Duterte's arrest here in The Hague, his camp petitioned the Senate to check on how the police who accompanied him were able to travel despite the lack of travel documents such as passport and visa. Meanwhile, Hanilet insinuated about what she said were worsening crimes in the country under the Marcos Jr. administration.
Congratulations sa Pilipinas. May kinidnap at pinatay na naman. Ganyan ang gusto nyo? Sige, congratulations. Number, di ba nakita mo yung survey sa dalawa sa cities ng Pilipinas ang dangerous place? Congratulations again. Maraming nangyari. Congratulations, BBM.
The palace was quick to react to this.
Huwag niyo pong gawin na issue. Dahil may buhay po ditong nakasalalay, may mga buhay na nawala. Kaya muli pinapanawagan po natin kay Miss Hanilet Avancenia. Huwag na po sana mamutawi sa inyong bibig ang mga gintong klaseng pananalita. Dahil hindi po rin natin gugustuhin i-congratulate ang dating Pangulong Duterte sa mga nagawa pong EJK. Dahil po buhay po ang pinag-uusapan dito.
The supporters of former President Rodrigo Duterte is organizing a prayer vigil with candle lighting activity in front of the International Criminal Court main office later tonight, as they said in time of the first month of former PRRD here in the detention center. Says.
Mon,
Alright, yun po ang latest updates tungkol kay Tatay Digong, and mayroon pa rin tayo follow-up dito po, no? Another video clip that I want to share with you tungkol pa rin sa report ni Amon dyan sa ICC. Let's continue to listen to this. Andito po.
That's actually sinasabi ng camp ni former President Duterte na talagang issue itong nangyari pag-aresto kay dating Pangulong Duterte, because they are expecting, specifically galing ito kay Attorney Martin Delgra when we have spoken with him the other day, ang sinasabi nila, they are expecting na dapat magkaroon muna ng paglilitis or pagharap sa kaso in a local court in the Philippines. Unfortunately, hindi ito yung nangyari at nagulat na lamang sila na dinala na nga si dating Pangulo dito sa The Hague immediately. Kaya nga, kinagasusun din ni Attorney Delgra na yung mga sumama daw ng mga polis dyan nga sa pag-aresto at pagdala sa The Hague, mga wala pa nga daw yung mga travel documents na dapat din daw silipin, such as passports and visa. Ses.
Noon hindi nabanggit kung si Attorney Delgra ay kabahagi ng legal panel, although sinabing may mga Pilipino na kasama. Ano ba ang katayuan niya ngayon?
Yes, actually we clarified it with Attorney Delgra kung ano ba pinaka-role niya and purpose of coming here sa The Hague. And he mentioned immediately that this is just part of the support to the former president when we asked if he's one of the two Filipino lawyers na minention ni Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, the lead counsel of former President Duterte. Hindi niya ito kinonfirm nor deny. Basta daw mahalaga, may nakakakilala sa kliyente or sa dating Pangulo dito nga sa kasong ito. So we just don't have any idea if Attorney Delgra is really part of the two Filipinos helping the legal team of the former president. Says.
At Mon, while we respect the privacy of the former president, no, ano ang nasasagap mong balita ukol sa kanyang kalagayan, sa kanyang health? Dahil hindi ba nagpakita na ng nababahala si Vice President Sara na hindi lumalabas ang dating presidente kahit na merong parang garden na pwedeng para mag-sunbathing man lang o masilayan ang araw, ang paligid. Noon.
Oo, Seth, ang sinasabi nga din ng camp naman ni former president when we keep on asking kung kumusta ba ang lagay ng dating Pangulo inside the detention center. His lawyers, ang sinasabi palagi, he is in good spirit, good health. Yung common law wife ni dating Pangulo Duterte, si Hanelet Abencena, binabanggit din na nasa maayos naman ng kondisyon ang dating Pangulo. Pagkamat, nagkaroon sila ng problema or parang pangamba dahil hindi lang yun sa part nga na hindi siya lumalabas sa may garden area, hindi nga rin pinasok yung mga medicines ni dating Pangulo from the Philippines. Although, iba kasi yung pamamaraan daw ng paggamot dito nga sa the Netherlands. Meron nga doon isang request si VP Sara noon na magdala ng wheelchair, pero hindi pinayagan dahil inobliga nila si former president na maglakad kahit dahan-dahan. So, ngayon, we just don't have an idea kung si former president ba ay nakalabas na sa garden dahil these past few days, palagi nga nagpupunta dito mag-ina at talagang nagkakaroon sila ng kumbaga bonding inside the detention center. So we just don't know if it's being happening outside or baka dun sa garden area or sa common area dito nga sa loob. Seth.
Panghuling tanong.
Alright, yun po. Now you know the exact situation of Tatay Digong po dyan sa custodian ng ICC or inside the ICC detention facility po. Okay din ng ang sitwasyon na based on that report. And nakita natin na nandoon din si common law wife of Tatay Digong, si Madam Hanelet together with the daughter, si Kitty. And if you notice, she mentioned about si Madam Hanelet also commented or say something about ongoing hearing carried out by the Senate, the Committee on Foreign Affairs, spearheaded by Senator Amy Marcos. Medyo ek-ek lang daw, sabi ni Madam Hanelet. So, kayo na bahala po, no? But the way we look at it, importante din yun po ang committee hearing dahil we want to find out. Tayo din po, ako din, I want to find out kung ano talaga nangyari. Sanang agarin ang utos, may violation ba o walang violation. According to a former justice, sabi niya, legal ang warrant of arrest, but may abuso sa execution of the warrant of arrest by some government officials po. Yan na-confirm siya po. And who is that person who confirmed? Si former Supreme Court Justice Adolfo Ascuna. May video clip tayo. I will share it to you later on. But in the meantime, I want to share with you itong video clip po about I think I already shared this video clip sa inyo po during my program yesterday. But anyway, since I showed to you itong video clip ni common law wife of Tatay Digong, and she mentioned about Senator Amy Marcos, the ongoing, sabihin natin, ongoing hearing, Senate hearing dyan po. And I think it's okay if I will share with you itong video clip ni Senator Amy Marcos. Nandito po, let's listen.
Bakit sila nagmamadali sa pagmalaking tanong?
Hold on,
Lahat walang alam.
Hold on.
Yung ICC at kung bakit sila nagmamadali sa pagmalaking tanong, lahat walang alam. Yung ICC, ang tagal-tagal na pala rito sa Pilipinas, buwan-buwan na nakakaalis pa lang yung iba, nung nakaraang buwan yung iba, hindi ko alam kung nandito pa. Abay, hindi nila alam lahat. Paano naman nila hindi alam? Samantalang lahat ng presinto pinagpupunta sa Caloocan, Station 6, Batasan Hills QC, lahat ng ospital, kinakantal na yung mga dead on arrival sa East Avenue. Paano nila nalalaman lahat ng detalyeng yun? Ang sinasabi ni Secretary, puro civil society. Ang dami kong barkadang civil society, hirap na hirap. Maangal nga na hindi sila tinutulungan sa ebidensya. Abay, napakasigasig naman at mapalad itong mga civil society ang sinasabi nila na na-access pati confidential medical records, pati secret bank records. Paano nila nakuha lahat yan? Kaya hindi mapagkakaila na may tumulong sa ating pamahalaan. Maraming pangalang binabanggit at wala naman tayong katibayan. Baka mauwi na naman tayo sa sinasabi ni Secretary John Vic dati na puros chismis. Pero yung pag-aresto at pagtangay ni Pangulo Duterte, hindi na chismis. Totoo na yun. At maliwanag na hindi ito biglaan tulad ng sinasaad nila nung unang hearing na March 11, biglang nagulanta lahat. At alas 3 ng umaga dumating yung Interpol warrant galing sa ICC. Maliwanag na hindi totoo yun. Mayo pa umaandar na lahat ng mga proseso. Mayo, noong nakaraang taon, nag-umpisa na, andyan na yung ICC noong October, nag-umpisa ang Quadcom, at yung DOJ nagkaroon ng task force. Nagtataka ako sa kanila kung bakit sinasabi nila na nagulat sila. Samantalang maliwanag na nagtulong-tulong sila ipunin lahat ng katibayan.
Alright, maniwala po, no? Very clear ang statement ni Senator Amy Marcos, no? And ako din po, if you look at it, no? Because I'm watching ang first hearing nila, second hearing, na wala masyadong resource person, and then third hearing the other day, nanood na. Ako din, I'm in the opinion now, na imposible po, ang gobyerno natin hindi alam po what the ICC are doing, no? And it is also impossible for me lang. I hope I'm wrong. For me, I look at it based on the hearings, no, informations that I managed to gather, no. Mahirap. It's very difficult for me to believe na walang alam ang gobyerno, because if you look at it, ang mga informations, detalles, very confidential informations ICC managed to get. They managed to get. Kung hindi nagtulong ang gobyerno po, then sino nagtulong? And if they say na hindi nila alam, hindi ba mayroon tayong mga confidential intelligence funds po? And this is not a simple issue po, simple case po, no? It involves the former president. And here comes, they will say that only last minute we learned, 11 hour on March 10, in the early morning, at 3 o'clock, only we find out that there was a request to help execute the warrant of arrest of Tatay Digong. I don't believe po, no? Mahaba yung preparation. Kaya nga sabi ni Senator Amy Marcos, noon pa, nagtulong na sila. May plano na yun sila. That's the impression that I'm getting. But let's see po. Ang fourth hearing kung mayroon po. No? Kung mayroon pa. Fourth hearing. Anyway, I will share with you another clippings about itong former justice ng Supreme Court, si Justice Adolfo Acuña. He was interviewed by the local media po, and nandito po mga explanations or answers niya po sa questions during the interview. Nandito po, let's wait Nandito po, let's listen to this. Medyo mahaba kunti, but okay na. I think it's good. Hold on. Parang walang sound, walang audio. We'll make it my audio.
Alam po na
Alright, sandali po.
alam po natin na yung Rome Statute, nag-withdraw na tayo. Ngunit meron pong provision doon na kahit na nag-withdraw ka na, ang state obligado pa rin mag-cooperate sa ICC tungkol sa mga bagay na naumpisahan na pag-investigate ng ICC. At ang Pilipinas ay naumpisahan na ito bago mag-withdraw. Kaya mayroon tayong tinatawag na residual obligations sa ICC. Isa nito, yung arrest warrant ng ICC, dapat tanggapin natin. At ito naman tinanggap ng otoridades natin. At problema lang, mayroong procedure sa Statute of Rome na kung nag-aresto tayo, gawa ng arrest warrant ng ICC, dapat dalhin yung arestado sa isang korte lokal bago i-surrender sa ICC. Ngunit hindi ito nagawa. Kaya sa palagay ko, may kakulangan yung ating pag-surrender dahil diniritso natin surrender si Mr. Duterte, hindi na pinadaan sa isang korte na lokal.
Okay, para po dun sa benefit ng ating mga manonood na hindi masyadong familiar sa Rome Statute, yung Article 59 po sinasabi na dapat yung isang pinapa-aresto ng ICC ay dapat munang isumite sa isang competent judicial authority para matignan kung yung warrant ba ay nag-a-apply sa naturang individual, para matignan din kung yung arresting procedure ba ay dumaan sa tamang proseso, at para ma-check din kung yung mga karapatang pantao ba noong inaaresto ay narespeto. Justice Ascuna, Department of Justice Secretary Boying Remulla argues that all the provisions under the Rome Statute is no longer applicable at this point because there is a debate ongoing here na parang while meron pong residual obligations ang Pilipinas, ang sinasabi po ng kampo ng DOJ is that hanggang 2019 lang po applicable ang Rome Statute sa Pilipinas. Kaya covered nito yung mga naging pagpatay ng war on drugs ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. But since it's already 2025 now, they are arguing that this is no longer applicable to the Philippines. Which competent judicial authority should settle this judicial question before us right now?
Opo, talagang kailangan ma-decide ito sa pending ito ngayon sa Supreme Court kung kailangan ba dalhin si Mr. Duterte bago i-surrender, dalhin sa isang korte lokal. Ayon kay Secretary Remulla, yung pagdala sa korte lokal na-satisfy dito dahil dinala sa kanya si Mr. Duterte at siya daw as Secretary of Justice and Prosecutor ay bahagi na rin ng korte sa tingin ng ICC dahil sa tingin ng ICC yung prosecutor ay bahagi ng korte.
Do you buy that excuse, sir? Do you buy that argument that a DOJ secretary should also be considered as a prosecutor who's part of the judicial system?
Yes, according to the structure of the ICC, the head prosecutor is part of the court. So Mr. Remulla says that as far as the Rome Statute is concerned, he can be considered a judicial authority as prosecutor because the prosecutor in the ICC is part of the court system.
Sir, gaano po yung katotoo yung ganong klaseng argument ni DOJ Secretary Remulla, considering na in the Philippine framework, the DOJ is clearly under the executive branch and not the judiciary?
Yes, that is the problem because unlike in Europe, where their prosecutor is part of the judiciary, in the Philippines, it's part of the executive. And therefore, it might not fulfill the requirement under Article 59 of the Statute of Rome na dalhin ang akusado sa harap ng isang korte talaga, hindi sa prosecutor.
All right, malinaw, no? You heard it, no? From the former Chief Justice, former Supreme Court Justice po, si Justice Adolfo Ascuna. All right. So let's go back to the earlier topic natin po tungkol sa Pulse Asia and Okta poll survey, no? And as what I said, I have some clippings and I will share this clippings sa inyo po. First video clip that I'm going to share with you po, ito si President ng Pulse Asia, si President Ronald Holmes. He is talking about the result of the survey. Hold on, nandito po. Let's listen to this. Hold on. Okay, anong number ba yan? May QQ tayo dito kasi mahirap kung wala tayong Q. Hold on. 106. Nandito po. 106.
Ronald Holmes explaining the performance of administration candidates and the possibility of a sympathy surge among voters for the bets of former President Duterte.
Bumaba yung 7 kandidato ng administrasyon kung iaambing doon sa kanilang support.
Yes.
Ren, Erwin Tulfo, si Tito Soto, si Paul Revilla, si Lito Lapid, si Pai Pacquiao, at si Camille Villar. All of them declined in terms of voting support. Statistically significant, no? Ang pagbaba. All question na sympathy, no? Sa akin, mahirap sukatin yung simpatya sa particular na grupo, no? Sa Dutertes. Ang masasabi natin dito, maaring nagsusolidify yung base nila. Dati-dati ay maaring passive yung base at ang pinipili nila ay ilang kandidato, halo-halo. Ngayon ay dahil sa ganapan na yun ay parang binibitawan din nila yung kanilang suporta sa ilang kandidato, hindi nila nakikita na kaalyado nila.
Alright, yun po. Si President ng Pulse Asia po, si Mr. Ronald Holmes. Okay, sa Okta naman, let's listen ang statement nila po, no? Kasi mayroon din interview sa kanya. And let's listen to this, si Mr. Rajit. Nandito po.
Okta Research Survey, the Pulse Asia's list is also almost similar. However, there are a few differences in rankings and 1 or 2 names missing in the Magic 12. For their survey, Okta President Ranjit Rai says the battle is no longer in the top 9.
Talaga nagiging mahigpit yung laban, lalo na dun sa yung 10, 11, 12, no? Slots, no? And you notice, dun medyo malaking istorya. We have the big stories, really, Mama Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan, at least in the Okta survey, is poised, no? To get into the top 12, or statistically are in the top 12, and have a good chance of getting into the straight 12.
Alright, yan po. Pulse Asia and Okta, ang statements nila. And this time around, I will share with you another video clip wherein nag-comment ang observation ni Professor Dennis Coronacion regarding sa dalawang election na survey, Pulse survey po. Nandito po si Professor Dennis. Hold on, si Professor Dennis. 243. Okay, let's listen to this po.
Good evening,
Hold on,
Hi, good evening, Ma'am Ses. Good evening also to your viewers. As we draw closer to the May 2025 elections, the list gets more interesting because we can see all the new patterns, in the surveys, and making it quite unpredictable. All right, so we thought all the while, before the March 2025 surveys, we thought that, for instance, we thought that Congressman Erwin Tulfo, is going to stay on the top of the surveys, but he was removed there by Senator Bongo, who has, I think, stayed there for 2 months already, or almost 2 months. And the possibility that he's going to be on top is very likely until the May 12 elections.
And then you have Ite and Congressman Marcoleta now appearing in the Magic 12, although it's kind of tight. There's about 6 candidates battling for that position, though.
That's right. These two opposition senators or PDP Laban senatorial candidates have made it to the Magic 12. This is unprecedented, I would say, because they were never, I think, if I'm not mistaken, especially senatorial candidate Marcoleta was nowhere to be found in the Magic 12 in the past few months, but now he has made it. And they are the big gainers, I would say. And although Pulsation President Ronald Holmes said that it's quite hard, to measure sympathy votes or sympathy for the Duterte allies and the former president himself, I think it's quite obvious that considering the coincidence, these big gainers achieved their current position right after the arrest of the former president. And this never happened before in the past surveys, except of course in the case of Senator Bongo. I think he was already on the number 1 position in the Octa survey
Right.
in February.
Prof,
Alright, okay, sorry. Alright, yun po ang comment ni Professor Dennis. Tuloy pa rin natin po. Mayroon pa isang video clip, mayroon ako dito po tungkol kay Professor Dennis po. Let's listen and then I'll give some observations or comments po regarding what he said. Nandito po si Professor Dennis.
do you think this will carry over? Do you see this carrying over for the next month, the next survey results, and until election day? That more PDP Laban candidates will make it into the Magic 12?
Yes, I think so because the issue regarding the arrest of the former president has already turned into an election issue, and it's not just an ordinary issue because it appears that it has trumped all other election issues. So I think the Duterte allies are benefiting from this surge of sympathy for the former president. And since this has been happening for I think 2 months now, right after the arrest of the president, the former president. So this might carry out until the May 12 elections.
Well,
Might be carried over rather.
you use the word unusual, and I guess unusual also that because this is a midterm election and usually it's the administration bets who hold the advantage. What do you say about this? Or could the numbers still change once the elections come and the administration will use its machinery to deliver the votes for its bets?
Well, yes, there's a possibility that the names in the list, in the Magic 12 list, will still change because surveys can change over time, and there are a number of factors that surveys have not taken into account to, like political machineries, resources, and so on and so forth. But then again, I think if ever there's going to be a change, owing to the scientific character of surveys, I think there will be less change that's going to happen. And I agree with the Pulse Asia survey, Pulse Asia president, saying that if there's going to be significant changes, it would be from the number 10 position up to the number 12 position.
Alright, yun po. That's it. Si Professor Dennis, ang observation niya, reaction niya, tungkol sa dalawang survey pa, no? Pulse Asia at saka ang Okta. Ang resulta hindi malayo po, and nakikita natin, based on the Pulse Asia result, apat yata ang kandidato ni Tatay Digong pasok po, no? Si Bongo, Senator Bongo, Senator Bato de la Rosa, yun parang sure na yun sila. 1 month na lang ang campaign period. Tapos nandyan po si Philip Salvador and si Dante Marcoleta. So, as of today, sa Magic 12, apat na po, no? And when we look at the situation now, na posible, may support din si Duterte kay Camila Villar. Nandyan din si Willie Villame, no? So, it's just a matter of another 2 or 3 na naman po na kandidato coming from the PDP Laban. Posible po they will be in sa Magic 12. Like, mabigat din ito si Atty. Vic Rodriguez. No? Atty. Vic Rodriguez, mabigat din ito. Ang kandidato si Jimmy Bondoc. Also, si Raul Lambino. Si Doc Mata. No? Maganda mga nila, mga sabihin natin kandidato. And of course, on the other side, Tito Vic, Tito Soto, yes, magaling, ay approve para sa akin. Si Ping Lacson, okay din yun po, no? And sino pa? So, most likely, if the way things are moving, no? Whether we like it or not, may impact ang sympathy votes daw goes to the side ng PDP Laban na candidates po. Hindi dyan po sa admin candidates. In fact, nakita natin po, drop ang figures ng admin candidates po. Based on this latest 2 surveys po, no? Na-drop talaga sila. One of the factors is, yes, I believe, ito na po ang sympathy votes dahil what happened to Tatay Digong. So let's just hope hanggang sa May 12, if nothing happens to Tatay Digong, let's say nandoon siya sa Cosedia ng ICC waiting for the September 23 appointment, ICC appointment. But if something happens to him, nagsakit siya, more ang sympathy votes will go to Duterte. I'm not hoping that he will be sick, no? I'm not hoping. But if something happens po, more sympathy votes will go to ang mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. So, parang mali yata ang what they did. They supported or gave assistance in the, sabi natin, serving ang warrant of arrest kay Tatay Digong po. And violated his human rights po. Ito ang issue ngayon Ito ang issue ngayon. Dahil kung lumabas pa talaga na si President Marcos was the one who gave the order, so may malaking effect. Para sa akin lang, may malaking effect ito po. Effect or impact sa mga kandidato po. Sa mga kandidato. But anyway, depende na yan po sa mga voters, no? Sa atin po. Yun sa atin is we are just speculating. I'm just speculating. Depende lang yan po sa inyo. But there are only one thing that I would like to say. Listen to all these candidates. What they say. and then judge them. Make a firm decision. And finally, on May 12, vote according to your conscience. Yan lang po. Yan lang po. Yun ang importante talaga. Importante yun. That is very important. So in the meantime, siguro hanggang dito na lang naman na ang programa natin na Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today is April 12 and it's Saturday. Bukas sa Sunday, huwag natin kalimutan ang Sunday obligation natin para sa mga Kristiyano or those embracing the Roman Catholic faith. So, happy weekend sa inyong lahat and I'll see you tomorrow again. In the meantime, I would like to say again, thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all and see you tomorrow. Bye.